back to another exciting installment of Let Freedom Cha-Ching. I'm George Koutros, and this is my good buddy.
Hi, I'm Alex Hormozi.
Yeah, I don't know how it works when it'll come out in podcast because right now I see you and you're like you're below me, but if I point like this and then you're up there, people are gonna be like, who's below the desk line? And then that's like a whole thing. And then we got a Monica Lewinsky thing going on, and I don't want to.
It's the whole thing.
It's a whole thing, and I don't want to get into that. Yeah, so last week we went over the first section of $100 million offers. The week has progressed. We have pitched our offer to people. Now I'm kind of want to go through, break it down, maybe not go so in the weeds and the very specifics of our offer, but kind of talk about the things that make our offer as we go through the book so we can kind of finish that series. How does that sound, Al?
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. Yep, just got off the phone a little bit ago with someone, so yeah, happy to go through it.
Yeah. Righteous. Well, we left off at the value equation, which is probably like the meat and potatoes of the book and it lays out pretty simple. He has it as your dream outcome times your perceived likelihood of achievement over your time delay times efforts and sacrifices, and that equals the value. You got to get those four things. So, and before we'll turn over, they say perception is reality in this. So at the end of the day, we're not, me and you, we're not selling anything that's novel or so completely new. It's Airbnb consulting. People are doing it all over. But the offer just has to be perceived to be way better. And we can do that because we're small enough, because we can offer things like our one-on-one time that you're just not going to get from a bigger conglomerate. You're not going to get one-on-one time with the CEO, COO of a company from these bigger things. You're going to get, people that are still good, but they're just, lower on the food chain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's always I think for myself, in my own experience, that's the biggest frustration. You pay for a course, you join something or some sort of mentorship, and you're like, oh, great, I'm going to have access to that person. Come to find out, maybe not like you thought. And that's always, when you get started, that's always a little frustrating. So it's definitely a big positive for us being the size that we are. We are definitely able to offer that to people where they just really wouldn't get it, in a lot of these larger places.
Yeah, that's where I think we can outmaneuver the larger beast. Is that we're guerrilla consultants? We can outmaneuver them. They're entrenched, and we are just out there in the jungle cashing checks for people.
In the jungle, we're in the jungle, baby. We're in the jungle.
We're deep in the jungle. Creedence Clearwater is playing persistently throughout all of our brains while we're doing these consultants. Yeah, the first part is the dream outcome. I think that's, the goal here is to like increase the dream outcome. For us, I think our dream outcome obviously is make more money with your existing units and scale and get more units and eventually have it become autonomous enough where you're not spending every waking moment looking at your phone, Airbnb messages, and all that stuff. I would defer to you now because, like, between the two of us, you have lived more of the life of the new Airbnb host more than I have. Like, you have been there doing the stuff, dealing with the laundry, the turnover, the physical, you were there. Knowing that this is our dream outcome, what are the things that, like, you've seen on the ground, boots on the ground, that we've implemented and changed and done that we can like provide to help people?
Sure. So probably the one thing like you touched on a second ago is like constant messages coming in. And naturally, as you scale, guess what? There's going to be a lot more messages. There's going to be a lot more inquiries, from guests, with common questions. Hey, what are the best restaurants? Hey, before they make a reservation. And that's, because you can create a workflow, you can create your automated messages, which a lot of hosts don't even do that. But when you have your automated messages, you can send, restaurant recommendations and things. But what you don't account for is the number of messages that people send before they make a reservation. And that's what sometimes really gets you bogged down is someone that, you want to earn their business. You want to earn their money and have, provide them a good service. But they're asking you, all these questions before they even make a reservation. So you need to treat it just as important as a guest who's already confirmed. So one thing that we have done, probably the biggest thing that we've done, is hiring a virtual assistant. Like we've talked about before, hiring a competent virtual assistant who can really, really assist with these things. Another, primarily with, guest messaging and guest interacting things. Another thing is the onboarding and, different videos and preparation things that we've created for the virtual assistant. And something that we've been talking about recently, creating more videos. I even just made a note today. Every single time, once you get to that stage, once you have a virtual assistant who's really helping you with these things, it's making sure they truly have the tools to do their job correctly and do their job without feeling like they need to ask you every time, because there's no point to having an assistant handle these guest inquiries and messages if they don't know how to properly answer the guest's questions. So it's up to us to give them the tools to succeed. And sometimes that is maybe like a cheat sheet, with some common guest questions. Maybe that's in the form of videos of like that we've started doing screen recording videos to give them, to provide the assistant with more information so they know how to properly field these various questions from the guests.
Yeah. I think just from listening to you talk, I could distill if I had to if Alex, if you were the avatar and I was selling to you when you first started off, correct me if I'm wrong, biggest pain point, the doing the tasks on the day to day that absolutely kill and bog down your time, which was laundry and guest messaging, right? Like in the beginning, you were doing the turnovers yourself and you were messaging the guests yourself. I remember because I just remember having the conversations like with you, talking with you, going over business stuff while you're doing laundry and you're like, I cannot do this anymore. And that was that out of necessity. We're like, okay, this is the first hill we need to take. Stop doing frickin' laundry. How do we stop doing laundry?
Yeah, I would say yeah. So like we've experienced at all sorts of different levels, you encounter different problems. So when we had one property, the problem at that time was I was doing the laundry myself, and it was a lot of laundry, even with one property. And I remember we talked, hey, we've got a second unit starting in just a few months in January. That was going to be after like, 2.5 months after we first started the first property. And I said, it is impossible for me to continue like this. At that time, still having a full-time job. It's not going to be possible for me to do the amount of laundry that's needed for 2 units. And that's like, okay, you're at the very beginning, which is so funny to think about. Like, yeah, you can barely do laundry just to keep up with it for 1 unit. So that was a problem we had at that time. And then, eventually, yes, hire a new cleaner. We have new problems at 10 properties. So I think no matter where you are, your problems just change. You'll always have things to overcome and, different challenges, but they just change. The nature of them just change as you grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have to like reframe the way we think and think about that person that's just started Airbnb or just about to start. And we can't solve the problem for them, which is like, I want to make sure that all, like that these 15 units are communicating with these 15 units to make sure that these double bookings are happening and blah, blah, blah. They're not worried about that. They're worried about how do I make sure the cleaner comes every day? How do I make sure this laundry is done efficiently? How do I find the time to message these people and do anything else other than just reply to guest messages? Because you could have one listing and have 10 upcoming reservations, and all 10 of those people could be messaging you about questions about this. And then also people that aren't even staying, that aren't even booked with you yet, are just like, hey, yeah, I wanted to know, like, what do where's the closest McDonald's? And it's like,
Right.
all right, Google it. Here's that.
Right.
It's like it's right here. It's Google. But then no, obviously no. So
It's also really amazing when you think about it. Like, I was just talking to you, I think recently the other day about this. The vast, vast majority of Airbnb hosts are not even doing any of they're just like, no, yeah, just set it and forget it. It's fine. It'll make money. I don't really care what the reviews are. I don't care how much money it makes because it's making more than zero. So it's pretty remarkable when you look at just the mentality that a lot of hosts have, like, I don't care, versus, and they're doing it maybe as kind of like a hobby or just like,
hobbyists.
like
Yep.
a way to make some extra amount of money, but they don't really care,
No,
you
it's like
know?
a fun it's like I'm dealing with my son right now. He's like, I want to have a business, and I'm like, okay, well, like what fake business do I create for my 3-year-old, soon to be 4-year-old? And it's like this is the same mentality. It'd be like we were playing like he was like a hotel manager, and I was like, oh, can I please have a hug? It's like literally maybe like 2-3 degrees above that is what they like the hobbyists doing when they're like I think I it's to me 2 hours is worth the $50 for cleaning and then I'll do the laundry. That's worth it.
Right.
And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, no, it's not. It really is
Yeah.
not. But
And
hey, to each
and,
their
and
own.
yeah, and that's the kind of the fun part for us, when we're working and talking with prospective clients and really understanding what their pain points are, what their goals are, to see if it's a good fit, because it's not always a good fit. Even with a prospective client, where the, perspective, we've turned people down. Like, oh yeah, no, I want to do the cleanings myself because I can save us money. It's like, this is not going to be, if that's what you firmly believe and you're sticking with that and you want to do all the cleanings because I don't think it's
No, we
not going to be great.
and if
So
some people want to do that, I don't knock it, but and this is circumstantial evidence at best, but I would say everyone that's posed them cleaning had a smooth brain, no ridges in the brain. I can't, the science behind that I can't prove it, but it just was a fact.
it's got to be a similar, there's got to be a similarity.
There's got to be something there. No, the next piece of the value equation, which I think is like the easiest one for us, is the perceived likelihood of achievement, which is communicated solely through our, proof and, what our guarantees are. So our perceived likelihood of achievement, how do we derive our proof? It's we've done it. We literally have done it. We have gone well past the stage that we are trying to help people with, which is why I think we feel comfortable. I am 100% comfortable if someone works with us, we will get them their first few units. It comes from our guarantee. How do I know? Like, okay, cool, I can say that, but I'm willing not to charge you until we get you what you want.
Right.
It's simple enough because I know we have the system. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we have those offers, those guarantees, and then on the bottom of the value equation, they talk about, okay, the time delay. So you don't want them to feel like it's going to take a long time to get those goals. And for us, it's like, I can say 3 months because I know what needs to be done, and it takes less than 3 months. So I pick 3 months.
Having the answers to the playbook is nice.
I know. So it's like, yeah, yep, we'll get it done in 3 months. Why? Because I know it works. And then the next thing is like and guess what? We can also provide as like little dopamine hits. I would say the goals that we know they will accomplish along the way. One, if they have existing listings, I know we can come in and immediately improve the nightly rate and occupancy. I know it for a fact. That's like the software that we use and the tweaks that we've used. Every time we do this, we increase the revenue by like 20+%.
Yeah.
And the occupancy is like way more better.
Yes, exactly. And even just like constantly, some different Airbnb listings that we are sending to each other back and forth. It's just, I might get this like in a tattoo, something with the horse blinder effect. So many Airbnb hosts do not realize what is immediately outside of their scope of what they're looking at. They just don't even know. So they're doing things a certain way. And here we are on the outside, like, hey, we can help with all these things, but they don't even realize, like, oh, you just like in their listing, upgrades to their listing, with the description or the pictures.
I'm talking to you, smart pricing. Yep. If you are using Airbnb smart pricing, stop right now, look in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you such a failure? No, all joking aside, Airbnb has that tool and it's designed to make Airbnb money. It's designed to make Airbnb look good by getting your prices as low as possible so people book and feel like they're getting more perceived value. Whereas other pricing software is designed to make your room rented out at the highest dollar amount to make you the most money. So you got to think about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, most people they can't see between the lines, can't read between the lines. Like, oh, Airbnb, they're great, awesome. They're offering me these extra tools at, smart pricing. Why would I pay another software for smart pricing if they're even aware of those other companies? Why would I pay for that when I can get it right here? Yeah, to the person who doesn't know any better, they might do that.
Yeah, and I joke, but it's like it's not their fault. And when you start this, you don't know these things. And like, yes, you should do research. You should do a little research, but also, hey, guess what? People are busy. So if you have an Airbnb on the side and you're using smart pricing right now and you're like, oh crap, I didn't even know this was a problem. Guess what? Hit us up. We'll give you, I'll do a free phone call with you. I'll just talk to you about frickin' dynamic pricing and how you can take steps today to improve your stuff. Don't need to hire us on. I will literally just talk to you about it because it is just super easy, quick conversation. So
it is, yes. And that's true. Yeah. Put ourselves in the position of someone who's brand new. Like when we first started, we also didn't know about all the things that we do now. Right. And so that's the huge benefit of hiring any consultant. You're just skipping past all of the stuff that you don't know naturally when you're brand new at something. And yes, you have to pay some money, but guess what? You are accelerating past your competition, who's also at the very beginning, and you gain so much insight from the years of experience.
Yep. They say you don't know what you don't know, and there's only two ways to learn what you don't know: through time and pain, and through money. So you can pay to learn the things at a much faster rate with none of the pain, or you can embark on the journey of pain and suffering and a time horizon that's like 10 times longer, which we've done both. So I can tell you, I prefer the first one. I don't like the journey of pain and suffering all the time. I've had a lot of those in my life, and I'm kind of ready to bypass a few.
I was explaining the same thing to that prospective client on the phone, pretty much exactly that. Yeah, you're brand new, you're looking in the right direction because they're having the phone call. They're willing to pay to bypass that pain and suffering. So that's a great first step.
Well, the last part of the value equation, Alex, is effort and sacrifice. And it's basically, things that we need to reduce to make them feel like they're not going to be killing themselves to get this stuff done. And caveat, it's a lot of work. So what do you think about where you were when you first started, and what gap needed to be closed for you to feel like, okay, this seems like I can actually do it. Like the first course you bought, what was their selling points to you? They're like, okay, you know what? I believe I can do this, and it's not going to create a crazy amount of sacrifice. Because there was some sacrifice, right? We paid a little bit of money for a course that some people don't like, but we did it. And then we paid money for a course that people did like, and we liked it, and we know the difference. But at the end of the day, both were good at getting us to be like, I can do this, and it's not going to be that much of a sacrifice.
Yeah. So with that first course, I will say at that time, what it did give me is the kind of like the foundation for getting started. What I didn't know at that time was, hey, for what they're providing, it's not worth the dollar amount that they were asking for, right? It did provide a decent foundation of knowledge to get started, but looking back and even like very soon after, getting started with that, like, okay, let's fast forward from that course. Fast forward, 15 months, 16, 17 months for when we did the new course, and seeing the difference between the two is like, whoa, okay, these are wildly different, levels of quality and involvement from that company, from each company, right? So that was the biggest thing that I noticed is, between the two, the first option was, not mentioning a name, but that first one was for the birds.
We did learn one thing: bands to make them dance.
Oh, they're dancing. Oh yeah,
they're dancing.
Yeah.
The book goes through step by step how to do all those things. Examples, lays it out, which reminds me, Alex, we need to straight up like finish the refined like checklist for this, because I think as we talk to more people, I think the clearer, more concise we can deliver, all these value stacks that we've created, we can convey it, and more people are like, oh, hey, boom. And then also other people can convey it for us. So it's like we go through all these things and we tell them all because we know it personally. But there will be a time when we won't be the ones on the line, and I want to create something that anyone can look at and be like, let me read this document, and this document says these are these things, these are these pain points, these are the whatever, and then it covers 90% of what people are going to talk about. You know what I mean? Similar to what you're talking about Loom. We just got to do that like a document. And I haven't started, but I just want to go over it with you. Maybe later. But wait, there's more if you order today. Every 90s infomercial. Yeah, the next section basically goes into bonuses and how to, create urgency and scarcity and all that stuff. I won't, go through that step by step, but yeah, if you're liking what you're hearing right now and it's a great book and the good stuff, this just goes into how to sprinkle a little extra sugar on top of what the offer is already. But, everyone, like that's a whole different, that could be a podcast in itself. So I don't want to go down the rabbit hole there. You know what I mean, Alex?
Yeah, for sure.
That breaks down the $100 million offers. And yes, there's leads. I'm going to save the leads for another series, Alex. I think we got some time before we can really bang into leads and what we're doing. But newsflash, this is part of the core 4 that he mentions. We're doing some organic content. And, I hope all 6 of you are really soaking this up and enjoying it, because that's what's going to make it for us. No, I mean, you know what it is. And we're doing this. This is more cathartic for me to talk to you about the week and the things that have gone on, because it's not like we talk to each other 3 times a day.
It's once a week on a podcast.
That's once a week. It's just to create authenticity. We refuse to talk to each other except for 30 minutes a week. And is that bad for our business? Yes, but we do it to make good TV.
That's right. And you know what? Eventually the book will come out as well. How two young men managed to start an eight-figure business by 30 minutes podcasting per week.
That's how it's going to happen. You heard it here first. 8-figure business, 30 minutes a week. That's all you got to do. 30 minutes a week. I mean, yeah, don't worry about all the other stuff. It's just 30 minutes a week and you will make tens of millions of dollars. And you can take that to the bank. That would be, yeah. You know how it is. Well, what else, dude? We got some bonus time here. Hit me with some juice, dude. Give me some operational wisdom of what's been happening this week.
Well, we have, let's see, we've got, one of our clients, he's finishing this month in just a few weeks, building a couple cabins. So those are definitely in the vacation rental, realm.
Yeah.
So we're going to start managing those. Working with someone else who wants to renovate, he already owns the property. He does not want to sell it, but he does want to renovate it. And then we can manage it, upon completion of that. That's kind of its own thing as well. So we're, continuing to manage our current portfolio, adding some arbitrage units, continuing to do consulting for other new hosts, and then kind of expanding ourselves into, some different areas as well. Like ultimately, yes, to manage more properties, but the way that we're finding these people, like through, developers, is also, it's kind of like a separate path that we're going down as well. So that's pretty cool.
If you could pick one thing that you are doing that you feel like is creating that, organic, I'm not talking about content, I'm talking about like in your life, because you're like on the ground. What is the one thing that you do that you feel like has led to deal flow come in? If you can pinpoint like one activity specifically that you do.
I'd say it's honestly like it's almost like wandering around and being yourself and always having like an eye out. So like this was just recently. I was walking on the sidewalk in DC, going to get dinner, and just walked by a guy and just being friendly. Someone who like this guy, he was like doing work outside his house, and he was just in a friendly mood. He just kind of chatting with people in passing. And it was like it was basically a mindset thing, having a different mindset, just having a very open and friendly mindset. Because if you think about like, let's say you're in a crowded city and like you're going to get on the train or the subway or something, and you've got headphones in and you're only focused on what's ahead of you. You don't want to stop for anything. And you're just like, nope, I've got somewhere to be. That's where I'm going. I'm not stopping. Where whatever that is, a meeting or whatever. We're going to get dinner, but it's not like you know, hey, guess what? We derailed our dinner plans by an hour because I was just, yeah, this friendly conversation, and that led to, oh, interesting. That's something where we could benefit each other.
Yeah.
And, with your property, our management, and next thing you know, holy smokes, we're talking about a big opportunity with someone who wants to do a very big renovation and then ultimately manage the property. So I would say for me, yeah, the biggest thing is just having a mindset of being open and friendly with people, because that could also happen on the phone too.
Yep.
You're talking with someone on the phone about something else. And next thing you know, you're talking about what it is you really have going on that maybe we're not planning on talking about.
I think networking, because we're kind of in the real estate space, and networking, whether it be on the computer or in person, is really the way. Like, you have to be open to bringing in new things. And I was at a meetup, I swung by, I live a super lame life right now. I come from work, I come home and do more work. But I swung by for like 30 minutes because I saw there's a particular person that I wanted to kind of get in there. Also, my wife's about to pop, so I can't be like, yeah, I'm going out and have beers on a Wednesday. But no, I went out and it was like 30 minutes, but everyone was talking about virtual assistants. They're all talking about problems with virtual assistants. And they're like, I can't find a good one. And I was like, okay, well, we are actually going through virtual assistant issues of our own, but not with our guest messaging, with our cold outreach. And then I thought like, and it felt like it was such a simple solution. I was like, for their guest messaging problems with their virtual assistant, because we also went through that. We had a bad virtual assistant and we had a good one, but we had to have the bad one to learn about the good one. Just like we had to go through this process with their outreach to know that there's something wrong. And it had me thinking, one, expose yourself to more. It goes to like, would you rather pay or wait for time and suffering? It's like, there's even a little other hack. Get around a bunch of people that are doing what you want to do a little bit better, and then just hear the issues that they're talking about and be like, that's not even on my radar yet. I'm like, oh my God, marron. But we think about it and it's like, okay, we probably should have been like a little more due diligence with the VAs, getting them going and stuff like that. So yeah, I think for me, if I had to throw my hat in, it's networking. Just distill it down to like you said, yeah, networking, knowing there's always a potential deal looming around the corner, and, you know, not being afraid to stick your neck out there. And I think ultimately not be afraid to help people, provide completely free value to people, help them out, knowing that if you help them and they become successful, they'll remember and come back. And if not, okay, whatever, you're putting good out into the world. Not too much harm that can come from that. Like we talked about how the Airbnb marketplace is like millions. So I'm not too concerned. I know we can help people out there. And even if we can only help 0.5%, that'll be enough to put my kids through college. So thank you, 0.5% Airbnb hosts that need help for doing that. Appreciate it. Much love.
Yeah, and this is like just kind of a one-off, but you know, like I'm staying at an Airbnb next week just for one night, and but I've noticed that I was chatting with, you know, when I was talking with this prospective client earlier, I referenced this Airbnb host, and like so many Airbnb hosts, they're not even doing the basic things.
Yeah.
You know, like they just, and so including this host next week, I've got no auto, no, not even auto messages, got no information. Nothing. Like, hey, thanks for booking. Here's your dates. I'd love to have you answer any, but just nothing. It's like, wow. So if I have a question, I already know the game, you know, like because of our business, I know what I'm expecting here, but you know, it's wild.
Yeah.
So I think it's, you know, fun to talk with different people, but you know.
I'll end with this. There's phases. There are phases where you have to do a bunch of work, and there are phases where you know, leverage the work that you've done. If you take the time to truly craft a $100 million offer, it's something you only have to do once. So whatever you're doing, take the time it takes to do the work the right way, do that work right, and then execute, and then just do the things that you have to do to keep it afloat and keep the life support going till it hits. And eventually one day it will hit, and if you put the work in and craft the right offer, it will hit. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I look forward to our next chat in a week exactly for 30 minutes. Until then, I'm calm dark, baby.